On this episode, we are back with our Disney Prep series, and today we're helping you pick a Disney resort. Today is March 1st, 2024, and this is episode 646 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey, guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. You can also find us now on TikTok at MSM Podcast. If you've not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. And if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, you get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Then if you're planning that trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World, you did not get the ADRs, which are advanced dining reservations, that you so desperately wanted. Don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant's date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. And as today we were talking about selecting a Disney resort, what is best for your family, for your trip, you can go ahead to mainstmagictravel.com. You can fill out a form for a free quote. So at the end of this episode, when you're deciding on that Disney vacation, Chuck or Amy will get you all set up, and our travel services are completely free to you.
So today we are talking about picking your Disney resort hotel. But first, how are you, Jeremy?
Oh, I'm here. Let's just
I think Jeremy's a little stressful.
Point out the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Funny enough, we are recording this on Thursday for the Friday release. We actually started this last Sunday. We sat down after a long weekend. We came home. We were getting a bunch of stuff done because House of Mouse Expo's coming up here Saturday and Sunday. Yep. And we sat down to record and we started going through it. We got 20 minutes in and we both looked at each other and we were like, this is bad. Like, this isn't our best work. And this has happened before.
Yes, it has.
And, we sat and we go, all right, we're really up against a time crunch based on what the week looked like and when we could record this, knowing that we're going to be gone all weekend. Yeah. And we're not going to have time to record for Tuesday. And we're not getting back
until Sunday night late.
Yeah, probably 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And
it's a very busy week.
Very, very. So instead of forcing something or putting out something that we didn't feel was our best work, we just decided to scrap it. And I said, we'll just record Thursday. That'll cover us for Friday, and we'll figure the rest out for Tuesday. So I don't know what's coming Tuesday. It might be a live podcast from House of Mouse Expo. I might have to scrap and get a guest because Rhonda will be very busy Monday. I don't know what's coming Tuesday. So if you would like to find out, subscribe. You can go ahead and get that episode. But yeah, we're gearing up for House of Mouse Expo. If you are listening to this and on Friday, obviously you're not going to drop everything and travel from a distance to get there to Kissimmee. But you can still, if you are a local and you're listening, there are tickets still available by the time you're listening to this online. You can buy them at the door Saturday and Sunday at the Osceola Heritage Park. They will not take cash at the door. You're going to have to do credit, just so you know, because everything goes through Ticketmaster. But it's going to be an amazing weekend. They're still or have been dropping new guests all week.
They have.
Yeah, like it's really going to be so awesome. We're going to have a booth there. We're going to be a vendor, which I'm super excited for. Rhonda and I will be working the event as well. We'll be all over the showroom floor. We'll be, popping in and out of panels of everything. It's going to be so cool. So houseofmouseexpo.com. But we are really running around crazy today, trying to get everything finished.
This is my first time I'm home since 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, I mean, you have had a full day. You worked all morning, and I worked all morning. And this is typically a day off for us. Like, this is the day off where we actually, well, in the sense that we don't do our work, we do our like housework, our errands, we shop, we do whatever we need to cover for like the weekend or if we're traveling. And so it's been crazy. So yeah, you will never hear the 20 minutes that we recorded because it was awful. But I do have a reel coming out soon. If you check out Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok of the moment that we said, this is garbage. We're not doing this. Let's figure something else out. So
Okay.
I did save that portion,
Nice.
but no, we are talking about, booking a Disney resort. And the first thing to start with, and we're going to do a whole other Disney prep series on off-property, non-Disney hotels.
Okay.
But the biggest question is, why would you book a Disney resort? Because everybody thinks that there's no perks anymore, right? They think they've all been taken away.
Really?
And many have. Magical Express is gone. That was huge. The true hour early entry. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has free magic bands. A lot of stuff has disappeared, but there still are a lot of perks.
Okay.
So I'm going to start real quick with the Disney hotels. Pre-arrival discounts on magic bands. I know they're not free, but you can get a discount at all Disney resorts. From the plain Magic Band 2s all the way up to Magic Band Plus. And it can be a significant savings, and there can be a pretty good collection. Pass holders can use hotel reservations as their park reservations. So when you think about the limitations, depending on your tier of pass holder, you get 5, you get 3 park reservations.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about good to go days. Let's just pretend those don't exist. But if you actually stay on property, which we do most every time, we can then utilize that hotel guest park reservation instead of using our AP reservation. So you can plan out even further.
Very nice.
Transportation direct to Magic Kingdom is only offered at Disney resorts. Every other place has to go to TTC, which just adds time
yes, it does.
to your travel, right? Complimentary parking at the hotel. Disney no longer charges parking at their hotel.
Yay.
Several other places do. You get complimentary parking at the theme parks.
If you're staying on property.
If you're staying on property.
Nice.
Many other places do not. You can charge your purchases back to your hotel. So using that Magic Band, using that Key to the World card, it helps a lot, right? You still get dining and all other reservations at 60 days plus a full 10. This is what a lot of people don't realize. If you are going to Disney and you're staying on property, not only 60 days out can you make that first day dining reservation, you can make reservations for up to 10 days of your stay, right? Everywhere else, for the most part, there's a couple that still qualify, and we'll talk about those. You have to make them individually. So if you stay at a true off-property, you are on day 60 from first day, you're making your dining. 60 from second day, you're making your dining. Third day, for every single day, you're having to make that dining 60 days out. Whereas Disney, you can do up to 10 days out of your stay.
Oh, so if it's 60 days and then you're staying 12 days, you get to go all the way up to the 10.
You can do those first 10 days. But
okay.
all the other off-properties that are true off-property, you have to do it a day at a time. And that's
hard.
really important when you're looking at...
If you're making a whole huge...
Yeah, or your 5th day into your trip, you want a really tough dining reservation. You're technically now 65 days out from what the advantage of a Disney hotel has. Early entry, that 30-minute early entry you get. Extended evening hours for the deluxe guests, right?
Yep.
That is a huge advantage. It's basically a free after hours. Purchasing individual lightning lanes at 7 a.m. as opposed to park opening. That's big.
Yes.
You get advanced purchases for special events, and those would be the things like
Mickey's Not So Scary.
Yeah, the Christmas party, Jollywood Nights. Disney will move your luggage during a split stay. You're not finding that in any off-property, non-Disney hotel. And then you're eligible for certain Disney dining promotions and plans.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah, because the dining plan is back.
Right, dining plan's back. Now, when we get into Marriott Swan and Dolphin and the Swan Reserve, they do get a few of those advantages. For example, they can take advantage of pass holders using the park reservations. They can take advantage of complimentary parking at the theme parks, but they will charge you to park at the hotel, right? They can take advantage of the early dining reservations at 60 plus 10, early entry. They get extended evening hours. They can purchase individual lightning lane at 7 a.m. as well. Shades of Green, the military hotel. They do have advantages where they can do the pass holder park reservations. They get the early dining reservations, early entry, extended evening hours, and can purchase Lightning Lane at 7 a.m. Official WDW hotels, which I'll mention in a minute, they do get the pass holder advantage. It varies on whether they charge parking or not based on the actual hotel. Then they also get the early entry. That's it.
Wow.
That includes B Resort, Doubletree, Drury, Four Seasons, Hilton Orlando, Buena Vista, Hilton Orlando Lake Buena Vista, and the Holiday Inn Orlando, which are all at Disney Springs.
And those are all official
WDW hotels.
Okay.
Yeah, they also get it at the Signia by Hilton Orlando Bonnet Creek, the Waldorf Astoria Orlando, Wyndham Garden Lake Buena Vista, and then Wyndham Lake Buena Vista, and those two are also at Disney Springs. So those can really be huge advantages for those, but you're still not getting everything else. And if you look at all other Good Neighbor hotels, and I'm not going to read that list because it's like 50 deep, they get none of these advantages.
But they're good neighbors, so...
Right. They're still good neighbors, but they get none of these official advantages. You can still look at some packages, things like that. Okay. You can find all of that out through mainstmagictravel.com.
Perfect.
But wait, there's more.
Ooh, there is?
Starting in 2025.
Okay.
With your Walt Disney World Hotel, this will not include Swan and Dolphin. It will not include Shades of Green, which is a travesty, I will be honest. You, on your check-in arrival day, get a free admission to one of Disney's water parks.
What?
So that's huge.
Wow.
And I'll address real quick. Anybody who complained about that perk, you really have to find better things to do with your time.
Oh.
There was a lot of it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sad.
Oh, well, the water parks stay open till 5. You check in at 3. I have to travel. I can't take advantage of it. Okay, well, you didn't do anything before. It's a free perk. Just because you can't take advantage of it doesn't make it a perk or not make it a perk. You know what I mean?
Right. And then you just, like, how do you say it? Build your life a little differently.
Right.
Wear your bathing suit underneath.
You take the early flight.
Yeah.
You get in there. You go straight to your hotel. You check in. If your room's ready, cool. If it's not, doesn't matter.
You
Let
leave
Bell
luggage.
Services hold your baggage. Go hang out at the water park for a couple hours. It is free. Quit complaining. Okay.
Oh, it's sad when people complain about
I
free
know.
stuff.
You know, and this is the thing, too. We're going to see a lot of this over the next year and a half, is that every time Disney actually does try to do something nice, and I think this is really nice. I'm shocked that they're offering this.
I agree.
Everybody's going to respond with, oh, so that's their response to Epic Universe? Okay, really?
Oh, yeah. They expect, all these people, I think, expect for them to come back with well, guess what we're doing?
Right. Yeah.
And
Villain's Land is opening next year.
Right.
Boom. No, it's not.
Nope.
And if you see what they're doing out overseas with the whole new, Fantasyland, the Peter Pan and Frozen and Tangled, I mean, over in Tokyo, like, a lot of people forget how many parks Disney has.
Right.
You know, so while I want all that stuff in Walt Disney World, they're still doing a lot. And if you look, let's just get it. This is going to turn into the last one. If you look at what Disney has done in the last decade at Walt Disney World, it's super duper impressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say. All right. What is the first thing you have to consider when you are booking? And again, we're going to talk right now. We're talking pretty much strictly about the Walt Disney World owned resorts, which would be the values, the moderates, and the deluxes.
Mm-hmm.
What is the number one thing you have to think about first when you contact Main Street Magic Travel?
Your budget consideration of how much you are willing to part with and how much you're not willing to part with. Yeah.
And I mean, that's the number one step. You know, you have to set it specific to a room budget.
Yes.
You know, you want to look at that separate from food and beverage, from tickets if you need them, if you're not a pass holder, and merchandise and anything else.
But now that you say that, you also want to possibly look at like where you stay, and I know we'll get to that and what room. But for example, my client and friend Megan is going to Disney on a girls' trip, and she booked the all-star family suite, and she's actually excited because there's a kitchen, very small, but still where she can have but still where she can have breakfast for her girls and stuff like that, instead of not having anything.
Right.
She has a larger refrigerator.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but when you're talking budget as it pertains specific to the room, you have to look at your nightly expense. Are you looking at something that you can afford that is $200 a night for a value, or $600 a night for a deluxe?
Correct.
So think about that at first. Obviously, that's going to depend a lot on your length of stay. It's very different if you're going 2 nights compared to 5 or 6 nights.
Or 10.
Yeah, or 10. So really consider what your budget is on room only.
Yeah.
Separate those out. And again, that is something that Main Street Magic Travel can help you with, is budgeting all that out. Next would really look at location. So you have a budget set,
yes,
right? Now, where do you want to be located?
Right.
What parks are you looking at doing the most?
Right.
Where do you recommend, again, what sections do you recommend based on parks that you're looking at doing during your stay?
Are you asking me?
I am. Yeah.
Because we love Hollywood and Epcot, so we would love to be on the boardwalk. And whether you're renting DVC points or you're paying for cash rooms, and all this can still go through Main Street Magic Travel. And that's for those, because you can walk to either one. If you are staying somewhere like a value, Pop Century would be amazing, or Art of Animation, because of the Skyliner, and that skylines to Epcot or to Hollywood as well. Depending if you're wanting, if you're going to Magic a lot, anywhere on the monorail loop. If you want to try something that possibly would be a little less expensive, is Fort Wilderness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a boat.
Yeah,
and you can rent a camper. And I'm not talking tents, or you could actually rent a camper, and then you have a whole kitchen, and they're nice.
camperrentaladventures.com is who we recommend.
Absolutely, and that is a fun experience.
Yeah. We hope to do it again this August.
Absolutely. Are they still doing cabins?
Yeah, so you still have cabins available at Fort Wilderness. We're getting ready to open up where the DVC cabins, they're starting to replace March 21st. You can start to book those, I believe it is. So that will be, an option for you. But, again, budget aside, you do want to think about that.
100%.
The All-Stars, Animal Kingdom Lodge, Coronado, those are all part of the Animal Kingdom area.
Yes.
So if that's something you're looking at, and then,
I start to say, where would you want to be?
Well, I mean, it's going to depend. I really, for me, I think of, all right, we got coming up in April, we're doing Epcot for Garden Rocks series. Nobody will guess who we're going to see, but we picked Pop Century.
Yeah.
And that came down to 2 factors. And here's the thing too, you want to take all these and you want to weigh each one. Right. For us, budget was definitely a consideration for us to pick Pop Century.
Correct.
Location was a great consideration for us to pick Pop Century.
With it being the Skyliner.
With it being on the Skyliner. Another thing to consider is time spent at your resort. For us, we're not going to spend a lot of time. We could have easily looked at, okay, what about a Caribbean beach? What about a Riviera? But we're not going to get our money's worth out of our budget by staying there. When we're going to spend all of our time in the parks.
And now our best friend's coming, Brita.
Yeah.
Mine.
Yep.
And she's coming with us, and she hasn't been to Disney since she was a
kid.
kid. So
pressure is on.
And now we're really not going to be at the hotel.
Right. For sure.
Resort.
Yeah. And it was perfect. We looked, and she was like, hey, before she has to go on to her next endeavor, she was like, I want to go to Disney. Will you guys go? And then we're like, we already got this weekend booked. Why don't you come this one?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're figuring all that out. But that location, and here's the thing too. I would take everything that we list and I would weigh them.
Yeah.
At first and say, what is most important?
Yes.
And then you can start to assign where you want to stay.
Because your budget might not be most important.
Yeah.
Your location might be most important. Not most important. Your theme and atmosphere might be most important. Maybe it won't. But let's talk about theme and atmosphere.
Yeah. And as I just came off saying, how much time are you spending at the resort? Are you going to book a deluxe level Wilderness Lodge, a Animal Kingdom Lodge, some of the best themes and atmospheres on property if you're never going to be there?
Right.
Based on what they cost. So if you think you're going to spend off days at your resort, you're not a rope drop to park closed person. You want to wake up in the morning and have coffee on your balcony. Maybe go down to the quick service, grab some breakfast or whatever. That's where your theme and atmosphere truly comes into play. And all of Disney resorts do it very, very well. But there's obviously a very distinct difference between staying at All-Star Music and staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yes. And if you stayed at All-Star Music, I mean, it is neat to totally walk around, but it is not something where you are getting your own little balcony, kind of having coffee. You'd have to have coffee and enjoy walking around a lot. If you're not already doing 30,000 steps a day, maybe you just go ahead and make 50.
Yeah, seriously. But that really does come into play in how you want to spend your time in your vacation. Amenities is going to roll into that as I think of, again, how much time are you spending at your resort?
Right.
And this could be a point where somebody's listening going, okay, well, I'm not spending any time at my resort. Remind me again why I'm paying extra money to stay on property.
Yeah.
Rewind back to the beginning. We went through that list of the advantages that you do get, even if you're staying at a value.
Correct.
And there's still something to be said about being within that Disney bubble.
Absolutely.
And the amenities can range from everything from having pretty great pool at a Pop Century and Art of Animation. They're pretty Art of Animation's on another level, but to going all the way to something like Stormalong Bay.
Oh,
that's
the best
or
pool
having,
on property.
Yeah, having multiple pools between a Kidani and Jumbo House over at Animal Kingdom Lodge. While there are amazing amenities at all resorts, especially when it comes to poolside activities,
right?
They certainly increase as you get to your deluxe resorts.
And that's really neat too, because if it does unfortunately rain, and I feel like this is, again, like Jeremy said, all of this in consideration. And if it's raining, like I'll never forget when we were staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge with the kids, and it was just an unfortunate day of like all Florida rain.
Yeah.
And it's not like, all right, it's going to blow through. No, this is set in and it's going to rain. And we stayed at the resort and we had so many different activities to do, even if you had to pay for them, which is never real expensive. I love that Disney does that. And of course you're like, oh, you have to pay for them. Some of them you do not, but some of them you do. And they're really pretty cheap. I still have, and I really don't even remember now how much I paid for it, but earrings and a necklace we made from Animal Kingdom Lodge. And I wear them, and I had somebody compliment me recently.
Yeah.
And so, just things like that. And you do have every place, if it is, no matter what it is, value up to deluxe. If it is raining, they will move it to a place where you can do it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of tie-dye.
Yeah, we've seen tie-dye moved inside the movies. Under the Stars, we've seen moved inside, especially at the convention center type resorts. Like, there is a lot going on there. And there's a lot going on at off-property. And we're looking at exploring. We've explored a lot of off-property. We're looking at exploring more. And we will certainly bring that whole thing to you. But there's just nothing like being in that Disney bubble and having those types of activities.
And seriously, so much amenities that, golly, there's so many times where we go and we're like, do we have to go to a park?
I know. Sometimes you want to get back. Sometimes you're at a park and you're like, you know what? I want to go back and I want to enjoy movie Under the Stars. Or I know that they're doing tie-dye at 2 p.m. at the pool, which I think runs like $20 to $25 to do your own tie-dye shirt, which I think is a great price when you're looking at doing it poolside. My favorite tie-dye ever was poolside at Old Man Island at Riverside, Port Orleans Riverside.
I remember that one.
That's my all-time favorite. And we've done a couple of them.
Yeah, we have.
They're just absolutely amazing. Transportation options are going to be a pretty big deal. And I actually think this becomes a bigger deal based on if you have children in strollers.
Yes.
Or
I completely agree with that.
If you are scared to death of the Skyliner. That can make a big difference. You really have to think, if you have somebody that is not going to get on the Skyliner and you know that, you have to take that in consideration of, all right.
Or won't get in a boat.
Yeah, boat.
Rachel's mom won't.
Rachel's mom will not get in a boat.
Yep.
So that really limits. Now, if you're up for everything, that again, I think comes down to where are you staying.
Right.
When you look at somewhere like the value resorts, for the most part, the All-Stars we'll talk about, your bus transportation only.
Yes.
Now, your single stop, but you go to Pop and Art, you add Skyliner to take you to both Epcot and Hollywood, but no bus unless it's a recovery bus. So
then what happens if somebody doesn't like the Skyliner?
I mean, you're going to Uber or Lyft.
Okay.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Just
You know,
wanted to say that out loud. So then if somebody was like, wait, I don't want to.
let's move to the moderates, which are nicer resorts, more amenities, but other than French Quarter, so many bus stops that it might not be the thing for you. It might not be. We have, the size of the moderate resorts, and I don't even think we have size of resort on this list. The size really makes a huge difference. We had friends we just went to Coronado, and they were like, we hated it.
Which is hysterical. They love Pop.
Yeah, they
more.
love Pop because it's so easy and accessible to get to transportation. They hated Coronado because you have all these bus stops, and depending on where you're staying around Coronado, Riverside, Caribbean Beach, it can take a lot of time to actually use transportation.
And with the stroller, you have to fold it up on a bus every time.
Not on a Skyliner.
But not on a Skyliner.
So if you like Skyliners,
not on a monorail.
You got kids, you can wheel them all right in. Yep. So it's the different types of things that you really want to think about.
Not on a boat.
Not on a boat.
Usually.
Right? Yeah.
Usually. Depending on
Sometimes they do.
Yeah, if it's the smaller boats.
Yeah, the larger ones, I believe you're able to wheel them right on.
Correct.
But, and another thing comes down to if somebody in your family has a disability, needs a wheelchair and ECV.
Correct.
That can sometimes make transportation a little bit more of a struggle as well.
But you can, with the ECV, get on the bus.
You can get on all of the transportation options. So it is, again, put that on your list. Where do we rank this? How important is this to us? Dining options, right?
Yeah.
Because how much do you want to eat at the resort?
You don't get free breakfast.
No, you do not.
At any Disney resort.
And when we go to off properties, we'll talk about that advantage.
Absolutely.
But you have to think, what are your options?
Correct.
Are you looking for a wind down at the end of the day, sit down meal? Well, then values are potentially out of question.
Correct.
Unless you stay at an Art or you stay at a Pop and you think I'll make my way to Riviera, Caribbean. We'll have a wind down, sit down meal there, and then we'll Skyliner back.
Okay.
Is a quick service, accessible breakfast a must? And what are your options as we look at that? If you're staying somewhere like Animal Kingdom Lodge and you got to go to Mara, depending on where you're staying in there, you could have a 30-minute round trip walk down to get a quick service breakfast and back.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That's
so you have to
sad.
think about things like that.
Okay. I never even thought of something like that.
Yeah,
we don't eat breakfast, so that's hard.
But even think about your sit down meal at the end of the day. How many options do you want? Do you want to be at a Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is going to give you Boma, Sanaa, Chico? Do you want to stay at a Boardwalk, which is going to give you, and I won't name them all, Flying Fish, right? It's going to give you Yachtsman. It's going to give you Ale and Compass. It's going to give you Cape May Cafe. It's going to give you all of those options. What are you looking for as far as dining?
But if you are staying at something like Animal Kingdom and you need just quick breakfast, I would totally do vacation grocery delivery, and then they can bring you and they can bring it to your resort, and you can get little things that. For anything from Publix.
Yeah. You can get pastries. You can get, if you're staying in a DVC room or somewhere that has a microwave, you can get those types of things. So, and you also have to think of type of cuisine, right?
Yeah.
So if we think we'd really like to stay at a resort and eat at it, let's go with my parents. We're not picking Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Correct.
We're going to pick something more like a yacht beach, that's going to have much more simpler Americanized foods that are an option.
Right.
So you really have to think of all those different things as you talk about dining. Room size, configuration, you mentioned this earlier, and this is a huge one. How big is your party? Who does your party consist of? If you have 5, that automatically takes you to very specific resorts like Caribbean Beach, right? With the 5th sleeper, Polly's that have 5th sleeper, Yacht Club with 5th sleeper, just to name a few. Do you have, is it 2 couples, right?
Right.
And what type of space are you looking at sharing? It's a big difference to share a room at an All-Star than it is at Poly that has a much larger room and a balcony and things like that.
Correct.
So, are you looking at doing adjoining rooms?
And I just started to say, that's what I think when you do look for a room configuration. And depending on how many people you are, whether it be a family, and I honestly, I think I'm actually talking more to all the families out there that have 5 or 6, and they're like, I can't afford to stay at a deluxe or a moderate. And then, well, you can totally look at, first of all, the All-Star Family Suites.
Yeah.
They're really
Which
not
are music only.
We did not. We stayed there, and I'll never forget. I heard it was like sleeping in a broom closet. Like, I heard they were so small, and they were great.
It's a wonderful
It
layout.
really is.
It really is.
But
Family suites at Art.
those are fantastic.
The best might be one of the best 6-person layouts in that space on property.
Yes.
When you're not getting into 1-2 bedrooms
100%.
at the deluxe resorts.
I agree.
Basically.
But there is always that option to you find an all-star, not family suite, but movies, and you've got 4 kids. You put your name and 2 kids on your reservation. Dad, you put your name and 2 kids, and they will have to adjoin.
Yeah.
So then now you have 4 beds and 2 bathrooms, and you can keep that door open.
Yeah. It's like having a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
It really
suite.
is great.
And it's outstanding.
It
so
is.
it's really, you really got to look at that type of thing.
Yep.
And honestly, it even comes down to going, all right, it's just me and you, right?
Right.
I love the All Stars and Pop layout when it's just me and you.
Absolutely.
Because we have a queen bed and we have a table. We don't have to fold down that Murphy bed.
Well, now Rita's coming.
Well, now she's coming, so we got to fold it down. Thanks a lot, Rita. But
hope she don't listen to these.
No, but when you think about that, now again, this is another budget thing. Obviously, if we have the opportunity to go stay at Yacht Club and we have to have 2 queen beds, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But the space actually isn't very conducive to us.
Yeah.
There's a king room with a couch in Grand Destino Tower that is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that. If your party is one people, 1 person, 2 people, 6,
and
multiple, whatever it may be.
And if you can stay with other people, like you've learned, we've learned that Rob and Tina's won over the years, our Chuck and Amy, and like Chuck and Allie. Like, it's nice when you can, and you're like, all right, we can do this.
And that can bump your budget up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really, it can.
Yeah,
you say,
100%.
all right, the 2 of us are going to stay at a value. Or we could split a room and stay at a moderate.
Absolutely.
Let's look at what that cost comes down to. Finally, really is the special offers and packages. And this is one to really talk to Chuck and Amy at mainstmagictravel.com. You're going to lot of better, rates and packages when you're staying on property. There's going to be a lot more benefits to you in saving money when you're bundling everything together. When you're bundling together your room, your tickets, a dining plan, maybe. And those are the things that you can get by actually staying at a Walt Disney World resort.
And one of the best parts to me, and I'll never forget because this has happened to us and I absolutely love it, is when we book, like, I see love when the memories come up and it'll say like, yay. And this was like 10 years ago now. Yay, Disney's booked. And it's possibly around this time. And it's booked for Lacey and I's birthdays, which is in July. And all of a sudden, we're like, gosh, well, we want to stay at Wilderness Lodge. So we're like, all right, well, we're putting, $400 down for one night and then we'll just pay the rest when we get there. And all of a sudden, Amy calls us and says, so you're saving $150 a night. Wait, what? Excuse me? You don't have to do anything, and it's free to you
when you use a travel agent. Yep.
Yes, when you use a travel agent. That is the best part about Disney. You can book something out very far in advance, and all of a sudden a deal comes out, and you're saving that money.
And you got to remember with these packages, as room only, you've got to pay deposit of the first night's stay, right?
Yes.
But with the package,
it's only $200.
And then the amount's due 30 days out.
Yep.
So you can go ahead and secure something for $200. And if it goes down before your trip, they will take care of you. Our agents will take care of you. They will call Disney. If you book it on your own, first of all, you probably might not realize that the rate went down.
Yeah.
You might not know.
100%.
Second, you got to get on the phone with Disney and you got to make that change instead of just letting agents take care of it for you. So, mainstmagictravel.com. Cannot recommend going there enough. They will take care of you. Again, you're supporting a small business. And I do have one final reason to stay on Disney property.
Oh, what is that?
The cast members.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we have had wonderful experiences at off property. We really have. Like, I will say, in general, I feel like the places that we've stayed, I can't speak for everywhere, in Central Florida, you know, be it from Disney to Universal and everything in between, we've always had wonderful, exceptional service for the most part. But there is just nothing like that Disney magic and actually staying on property and interacting with those cast members on a daily basis, even if it's walking out in your room in the morning and janitorial is cleaning up, or, you know, they're spraying off cleanliness to me is a big thing. Like, you know, they're spraying off all the sidewalks, and they're just making sure that everything is prim and proper and ready for the day. You know, down to, the front desk and the cast members that are going to wait on you when you're at a table service restaurant or when you're ordering quick service. Like, to me, that is just that one final kind of like icing on the cake on why you would stay on Disney property.
Yes, and be nice to the cast members.
Yeah. And if you really want to be nice to them, come out to House of Mouse Expo this weekend.
Yeah.
And buy a Be Nice to Cast Member shirt from us.
There you go.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I think this went much better than last time.
I do too.
If anyone's listening and thinks this wasn't a great episode, then maybe I will send you last episode and you'd be like, oh yeah, this was much better. Like, this was like leaps and bounds, because the last one was garbage.
Yeah.
It was bad. So thank you all so much for listening. Again, you can go ahead and book that next Disney stay on property or off property.
Yes.
You can go to Universal, you can cruise, you can travel anywhere in the world at mainstmagictravel.com. Free quote, and our travel services are completely free to you. If you hit that subscribe button, you get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday, and you can find out what Tuesday's episode will be, because we don't know. Also, we'd be super thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review,
because it really does help our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.